Welcome to MELfeed.video. We are commencing a live web stream service via youtube.com from Echuca, Australia. We currently conduct these streams on Monday evenings, with other times to be added as more opportunities arise. Please visit our website MELfeed.video for further information. This web video project presents old and new community TV programs. Please enjoy your stay with MELfeed.video.
This repeat episode of NAT Chat Migration Stories is presented as a tribute to its host, Richard McAuliffe, who sadly passed away this last year.
Welcome viewers, thank you for tuning in to Migration Stories, produced by Northern Access TV for our chat series NAT Chat. And today my guest is Gil Santos, who migrated here from Timor quite a while ago.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure, Richard.
Well, we're going to talk about your time in Timor and, you know, your hopes for the future, but we'll start with your current work and activities here in Melbourne. But Gil, you're actually quite well known in a certain circle of people who love, you know, music and political causes, with the band that you formed and led, the Dili All Stars.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, a few years ago, you were quite prominent in the media, doing stories and that.
Yes.
What was that about?
Well, I was growing up as a political activist in the past, and also a musician. And being musician and political activist, music is the right tools to promote the cause. I was in the music more about promoting the cause of East Timor cause at the time before independence. And yeah, so that's how I was very involved with the media, and I also more like a lobbyist at the
because
time.
At that time, that was like fighting for independence?
Yes.
That was just before there was independence?
No, this was before independence.
Yes, okay.
During the struggle for the independence. So,
well, you know, we'd have to say that music does point to issues and does focus. And, you know, do you think that you've had a small part to play in achieving independence for East Timor?
Well, when we first came to Australia in 1985, we migrated from Portugal, where I left Timor in 1982.
I see.
I was only 12 years old, and my father was killed, and all my uncles got killed, and my mother at the time left Timor in 1979 during the height of the Cold War. She has to go through Soviet Union at the time.
Soviet Union?
Yeah, and then she ended up in Portugal, and then 3 years later she got us out of Timor.
Yes.
And then 3 years later, 1985, we decided to come to Australia. So, and
all right.
I think it was one of the best choice that my mother did. And then in Australia, growing up here, went to school, and all of a sudden identity, the need of having identity in the community was very important to us, and that's how I got involved with political activism very early years. Got involved with the unions and other musicians, and then I met Paul Stewart, was one of rock star at the time, playing for Painters and
One
Rockers.
of our local legends here in Melbourne and Australia. Paul Stewart, fabulous.
Yes, and because one of his brother who got killed.
Tragically, his brother Andy was one of the 3 journalists.
Oh, 5.
One of the 5 journalists, excuse me, who were killed?
Yes.
During wartime activities there in East Timor.
During the invasion.
Wow.
Yes, and then we went in 1990, in mid-80s. I used to go out, watch them all the time. And,
yes.
because They were the band that...
They were the big band at
Yeah.
that time, weren't they? Yeah.
Yes, and they promote a lot of Timor situation at the time
Yeah.
where nobody knew where
Well, of
Timor
course,
was.
Paul Stewart, he's a great person,
Yes,
a great journalist,
yes,
great musician, but he's a real Melbourne kind of guy, hey?
yes,
And he would have been so passionate about the everything East Timorese cause, with his own brother being amongst
yes.
the loss there. But, you know, you've lost your family members
Yes.
too. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. And he was practically was a driving force.
I see.
He took in 1992 when Shanana Guzman got captured, and then we team up. We did a recording of
Liberation, the song.
no, not Liberati. Liberati came later.
Okay then.
Yeah, and that was We Can't Be Beaten from Andy Ankerson.
We Can't Be Beaten.
Yes,
Oh, wow,
in
you
Tetum
did
version.
that.
So yeah, and things started rolling from there until before the referendum when we decided to set up Dilo All Stars.
Okay.
Paulie and I, and we formed the Dilo All Stars with members of Painters and Rockers and also members of Timorese community musicians.
Yes.
And we went from there.
And for many years you were one of the prime bands to book for many events,
Yes,
not just political but also
yes.
entertainment.
And yeah, from there our aim was when Dilo Stars went on for another 12 years, touring, playing everywhere, tour around the world.
Yes,
And
wonderful.
yeah, been to Timor a lot of times, and every time we came back, they always had demand. And when we played, we thought that this is it for us. When we played on Independence Day in East Timor 2001,
Indeed.
and but then there's other issues also came up and forced the band to continue on touring and playing.
Well, Gil, we'll find out more about that part of the story after the break, but now we have to go to a break. So please do stick around, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Migration Stories. We're here with Gil Santos, born in East Timor, but you migrated here from Portugal.
Yes.
Tell us that story.
Yes, we left Timor as refugees because Timor was at war at the time, and but for us to come to Australia, the Australian government at the time didn't recognize there's always a conflict in Timor, so they always trying to play down as much as they can, and for us to come here, we had to come in as a Portuguese migrants.
Right.
And so that's why we had to go to Portugal and then come to Australia.
And this was organised by...
We went
you were, what, 10 years old or
yes,
something?
I left Timor when I was 12. And when my mother got us out from Timor through
Right.
Red Cross.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, so...
They do great work, the Red
yes.
Cross, hey. They're really
Yes.
there at the fiery points.
yes,
And your mother was one of the...
yes, there's 8 of us.
Yes.
And when my father got killed,
You lost your father.
and my younger sister was only a baby, and my older sister was only 12 years old.
Wow.
And then we decided to come to Australia.
Yes.
And my mother, which is very strong woman,
Yeah.
I admire the most. And she, gave us educations. Most of us ended up finished at schools and went on to universities. And she's a very strong woman.
Yes.
Well,
thank goodness for that. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have you in our country.
Yes.
And she did the research to think about Australia. What do you think were some of the things that she was
Well,
valuing?
was very hard for her to come to Australia. When we got here, as like
Like any
typical migrants,
migrant?
which is no money, no nothing, and basically just the clothes on your back.
Wow.
And it was really hard for her in the beginning because of the language issues, and
This was
Yeah,
late 70s or early 80s?
85.
Yes.
And but for us was something really good.
Yes.
I mean, we, because
the
it's a
kids.
young kid, and we easy to adapt, and in Melbourne, for example, the communities here are very friendly, and was really great, for us.
Wow.
So and
That's good
yeah,
to hear.
yeah.
And you blossomed really as a
Yes.
person, and then you were able to take on more responsibilities in that music project with the Dilly
Yes.
All Stars to do all that.
And
But your mother must have been, an amazing person
yes.
and inspired and maybe a bit angry.
Oh, it was really hard because my father disappeared during the war, and we never knew that. Was the hardest part for me is watching my mother grieving for such a long time, and that's the hardest part. And then when we overcome this situation, and the only thing is we have to do our best to prevent more sufferings back home. So that's how I became a political activist.
Yes.
Not only me, all my brothers and sisters. And I was so involved with Timorese cause at the time, so which is driving us to be who we are today.
Well, I'm glad that Australia or Melbourne gave you an environment to do that work.
Yes.
It's reassuring to hear that. What's the situation in Timor now? I mean,
Now I visited Timor a couple of times, and the situation, well, can only get better after the independence. It's nothing worse than prior to the independence. But there's a lot of issues and that the country need to tackle, like corruptions, or But
corruption is everywhere. It seems.
Yeah, or mismanagement and government, and but other than that, I think we are going through a right direction at this point in time. And yes, we have a bit of hiccups during the process of independence. Like I always tell people, fighting and the struggle is a lot easier than when you're trying to democratize a country. Where our culture is, I see democracy is based on a European thing, but for the Timorese, where the community is more important, or the family is more important than yourself.
Yeah.
Having a democracy is quite a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's all being built at that time. So, have you been to the house of Jose Ramos Horta?
Yes.
What's it like hanging out at a president's house? I mean, what do you do?
Wow. He invited me twice with Paul Stewart, and before he got shot and after he got shot, and during the 2006 crisis.
Yes.
And because at the time when Jose Ramos Horta used to come to Melbourne, and we used to really do a lot of work at the time with him.
Because he's quite a profile figure, isn't he?
Yes, and he's always been very close to my family.
Oh.
And obviously every time we rock up in Timor, and he always invite me and Paul.
So East Timor has one main capital city, yeah?
Yes, which is Dili.
Dili, and the rest is kind of what? Kind of villages?
We have second major town, which is Baucau.
Oh, okay.
And but the rest of Timor and other districts is still a long way to be developed. Yeah.
And well, I mean, when you plan to go back next, is it sort of a emotional trip or fact-finding? You're going to do something else?
I really need to go back as a tourist for once, for a change. Because every time I go to Timor was all about doing some kind of projects.
Indeed.
Yes.
So if you went to Timor as a tourist, which you're going to do when you can.
Yeah.
Well, where are you going to go? What are the hot tourist destinations of Timor, as it were?
Yes. I want to go now.
There's
for
mountains
example,
there, for
there's
example.
mountains. We have
and waterfalls. Is
yes, we have now. Timor is such a beautiful
there?
country.
Wow.
It's such a beautiful. We have mountains and you name it. It's so pristine and
Mhm.
still virgin for
Mm.
for that industry and.
So a feeling of like, being close to nature, away from
Well,
built-up areas.
Well, when you're in Delhi,
Mhm.
it's really full on. You don't really notice that you're so far away from home. But
Right.
if you step out of Delhi,
Mm.
5 minutes outside of Delhi,
All right.
then you realize that you are so far away from home because it's different.
So different,
Yeah.
hey?
Then you realize you're in Timor.
Okay, Gil, look, fascinating. We're going to continue this after the next break. Thanks. Keep watching because we'll find out more about Gil and East Timor and Melbourne after the break.
If you choose to drive when overtired,
You could ruin lives.
someone else's, your family's, or your own,
Choose a power nap instead.
the right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
Welcome back. We're talking to Gil Santos about his plans for a holiday in his original country of Timor. But we talked a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big industries, is it not oil? Is there not a lot of oil in the Timor Sea? And are there some issues around that?
Yes, we do have oil, and oil is our main source of revenue.
Okay.
And then our second biggest export at the moment is coffee, which is but what concern most of us about the oil revenue is the government at the moment is not looking into ways how to generate revenues from other industries oil is they just get the money and giving them out, just paying the expenses, but not looking into how to generate revenue or make
And get
money.
extra value out of having
Yes.
the oil rather than
Yes.
just
Yes.
pulling it out and selling it.
Yep. And one thing that I'm not really in favor is the government trying to have mega projects, but
Mega projects?
Yes.
Okay.
And instead, I still prefer that the country should look into basics necessity like health, education, in order to build the human resources.
Yes.
And
more organic growth, slower
yes.
growth.
Yes.
So what these mega projects,
I mean,
what are they? Are they tourist
they-
things or big refineries or?
They're looking into the tourist things,
Yeah.
and as well as or maybe the pressure, and like every other governments in the world, they only have short-term,
Yes.
5 years term
Wow.
to do. They never look into the long term. If you talk about health and education is a long-term goal, but this is something that they're never interested in.
Oh,
So,
I see. It's all just so much. It's just
Yes.
like an independent country, only 20 years really, for only 20, 30 years. 20 years. And, so much to do, so many
Yes,
pressures. Of
it-
course, problems with neighbours. But oil gives a country a chance to plan well into the future. So why
Yes.
such short-term planning?
And that's one of the issues that's a lot of debates going on, which is good, and we do have a lot of debates surrounding the oil revenues and all that. Yeah.
What's the population of East Timor?
We just 1 million,
Wow.
just a little bit over 1 million, and more than half of the population kids under 15.
Now, does everyone talk how many languages? Do they talk Portuguese?
Well, Portuguese and Tetum is our official language.
Okay.
And then we do have another 30 odd dialects,
Wow.
and then people also people speaking Indonesian as well.
Yes, of course. You have to.
yeah,
They're across the border.
yeah. So the language sometimes is an issue when the politicians try to politicize the language,
Oh.
and which has caused a bit of problems. But For me, these issues should be left to academics to decide,
Right.
what's best for
Gil,
us.
really, you're the perfect person to ask. And what more can be done in Australia, Melbourne, Australia? I mean, Australia is contributing something good, hey, towards this.
We in Australia, we do have friendship cities going on from all the districts. Like, for example, where I live, Casey, we have friendships with Ermera.
With who?
With Ermera, another
Ermera,
district.
okay.
Yes. And they build schools, they do all the basic necessities, and which is very, very positive. And our community here also is very active. And I also involved with METAC, Melbourne East Timorese Activity Centre.
East Timorese Activity Centre.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we based in Richmond, and we
Based
do
in Richmond.
have dinner every month.
Oh,
First Friday of every month. So we anyone that always support Timor,
how
like
wonderful!
yourself,
Yeah. Well, I'm
And,
going to come
yeah, just come and there's food and music
and meet some East
Meet-
Timorese
meet East Timorese
people in here in Melbourne.
Yes,
And it sounds like you'd like to spend quite a lot of that oil income on education. Hey.
yes.
Yeah.
Education is everything.
Yes.
I mean, we can't build a country
And not just academic education, but like commerce and,
I always argue human resources is not about sending kids to university.
Yes.
Human resources is about keep the population healthy.
Yes.
That's another thing. I mean,
Yes.
if one day, we live in a very competitive world, and we need to, like, for example, invest in the health
Yes.
sector where people are healthy to involve with economic development. And when half of the population is half sick with mental problems, it's very, very it's tough to build a country in that basis.
Of course, and a country which has got its own geographic limitations and,
Yeah.
But someone has to do it, and you're one of the people who's doing it here in Melbourne. And there's more that we could do by perhaps attending or getting
Yes.
involved or,
Yeah.
finding out more.
All the city councils here in Australia and have some relations with other districts in Timor. So
I see.
we based on a people relationship,
All right, then.
which is going very positive
so
at the
people
moment.
can get involved in helping
Yes.
East Timor through their council.
Through the council. Yes.
You've done some excellent work.
Mm.
Not you personally, but all your team around you. How
Yes.
big is the East Timorese community in Melbourne?
Well, outside of Timor and Indonesia, Melbourne is the biggest Timorese community outside of Timor.
Wow. Well, we're lucky here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
We really are to have such diversity. And you see a role in the future for Australia to continue to forge better relations with the East Timorese.
Well, that's very, very important. Bilateral relationship is.
And you're an Australian now.
Yeah.
So kind of it's funny, people can say we can have dual citizenship, but really the proximity and the nearness, we all need to learn about our neighbours more, hey?
Yes, the relationship between Australian people and Timorese people has gone back a long way since the
Yes.
Second World War. So now with this friendship city that's going on, we strengthened more of that relationship.
A fabulous story, Gil. Thank you very much for joining us here on Channel 31 Migration Stories. And by the way, if you'd like to enjoy some of Gil's band Dilly All Stars music, it's on ABC Music. You can find it there.
Yes.
And elsewhere. And please do stay in touch with this show and find out more about the East Timorese community through the councils. In the meantime, keep watching Channel 31 and we welcome you back next week.
evening, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. This is 6 News. Tonight, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg tests negative for coronavirus after a coughing fit during a speech in Parliament. Also fears the arts and entertainment industry will be hit hard with less people likely to attend large gatherings in the future. The federal government set to appoint a chief mental health officer to help the well-being of Australians. Anger after Liberal MP Tim Smith labels the Premier Chairman Dan.
You are a disgrace.
And it's been described as Donald Trump's media meltdown, the US president abruptly ending a press conference after evading questions about Barack Obama.
Obamagate.
And what some are calling a racist remark.
Ask China that question.
6 News starts now. First tonight, Josh Frydenberg has tested negative for coronavirus following a coughing fit during a speech in Parliament. The Treasurer was speaking on what would have been Budget Day when he began to cough uncontrollably.
Sorry. Sorry. My voice has gone out.
The Treasurer was tested for COVID-19 as a precaution, his results coming back as negative. Bob Catter also spoke about the coughing fit.
And to show you and I are trendy, back in black, highway to hell. Treasurer, cough up the money, make money.
To tonight's viewer poll, and we're asking, would you be likely to attend large gatherings in the next 6 months if it was possible? On Instagram, 68% of you said yes, you would go out. 32% of you said nah, let's stay home. On Twitter, a bit different, a whopping 80% saying no, only 20% wanting to go out. Make sure you have your say on our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages by using the hashtag 6NewsAU. And for more on this, I'm joined live in Tokyo by Michael D'Stasio, who's done a lot of work organising these large events. Michael, good to talk to you. Do you believe people will be less likely to attend these large gatherings in the future?
Japan, for as long as I've been here, and that's decades, has always been about hygiene. So at the entrance to every place, there's somewhere to wash your hands, as in alcohol-based wash, and everybody does it. People wear masks in hay fever season. They'll just extend that. I think everybody wants to get back to doing normal stuff. I think the issue that will wipe out any fears, both in Japan and abroad, will be a vaccine. And when a vaccine comes in, everybody will forget about a whole lot of things associated with this. It's not called herd immunity, it's called a vaccine. And when enough people are vaccinated, the disease tends to become dormant.
Michael, thank you. The federal government is set to appoint a chief mental health officer to help Australians dealing with the economic impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Associate Professor Ruth Vine will be taking the historic role, working alongside Chief Medical Officer Brenton Murphy. It comes as experts fear a 50% increase of suicide directly linked to the economic impact. And remember, if you or anyone you know needs help, please contact Lifeline Beyond Blue, or for our younger audience, Kids Helpline. The numbers are on your screen now. Controversial broadcaster Alan Jones has retired after more than 15 years at 2GB Radio. His breakfast show was the highest rating in Sydney for most of those 15 years. Jones has faced many controversies throughout his career, including alleged sexist remarks about women, including New Zealand PM Jacinta Ardern and former Prime Minister Julia Gillard. He will continue to work at Sky News and the Daily Telegraph. Rob McKnight has unleashed against Tim Smith after the Liberal MP called the Premier Chairman Dan. The QMP heavily criticised Dan Andrews over the lockdown laws, many, however, saying his attacks are unjustified.
The thing is, what if Dan Andrews takes your advice, Tim Smith, and more people die? Will you take responsibility for those deaths? No, you just want to have a stand argument in the backyard and snipe away when the real politicians, the real leaders are making decisions and actually thinking about the consequences of those decisions, not just trying to score cheap political points. You are a disgrace and you do not deserve to be in Parliament, and I hope the people of Kew vote you out at the next election like the piece of trash you are.
Donald Trump has been slammed for ending a press conference abruptly, many labelling it the US president's media meltdown. Video of the press conference has gone viral.
What crime exactly are you accusing President Obama of committing, and do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute him?
Obamagate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected. And it's a disgrace that it happened. And if you look at what's gone on, and if you look at now all of this information that's being released, and from what I understand, that's only the beginning. Some terrible things happened, and it should never be allowed to happen in our country again. And you'll be seeing what's going on over the coming weeks. But I wish you'd write honestly about it, but unfortunately, you choose not to do so.
Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else?
I have two questions, Mr.
President. Next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish,
Okay.
but can I ask you
Ladies
a
and
question,
gentlemen,
please?
thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
The AFL is on track for a season restart on June the 11th. Restrictions in WA and SA will see Fremantle, West Coast, Adelaide and Port Adelaide relocate to a Queensland hub. The first game is set to be a blockbuster between the Pies and the Tigers on Thursday night, just 2 days after the return of face-to-face learning for Victorian students between Year 3 to 10s. To tomorrow's forecast around the nation: Darwin cloudy, getting up to a top of 34. Brisbane heavy rain tomorrow, it's getting to a top of 23. Sydney also some heavy rain, moving to a top of 19. Canberra finally warming up, 17. Melbourne a top of 18, some clouds. Hobart also cloudy, 16. Adelaide getting to a top of 21, and Perth a top of 18. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for the latest updates. For all our viewers watching via MELfeed.video, stick around because up next is a double of harmony and diversity. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
Alleluia. Om Mani Padme Om. Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity. And we're speaking again today with Father John Dupuche. And we're going to speak about the joint journey to Jerusalem, which has been quite an exceptional success. Thanks for coming back, Father.
Pleasure.
The joint journey to Jerusalem, where did it start? How did this happen?
Well, some years ago, perhaps 7-8 years ago now, the Turkish Muslim group, which is active in Melbourne, very active and still very active in Melbourne, organised a journey, interfaith journey to Istanbul, to Turkey.
Okay.
And about 24 of us went. They still have these visits every year. And so we visited very, very sacred sites in Turkey, and it was very interesting. That led on then to the obvious idea of having a journey to Istanbul and Rome. So 12 Muslims and 12 Christians, 12 Catholics to Istanbul, to the sacred sites, and then to Rome, to the sacred sites. That went very well. That was about 5 years ago, perhaps. And that led on very naturally to the next idea, which was to have a journey of Jews, Christians and Muslims to Jerusalem. So it was a natural flow through. And but people were saying it'll never happen. It can't happen. You know, it's just too difficult. No one's going to want to come, all that sort of thing. So it was put on the shelf, you might say, for a while. And then about 3 years ago, this rabbi comes from America, Rabbi Adam Stein, a young man, and he comes for an appointment here in Melbourne, and he invites me to some others to an interfaith event at his synagogue, and then a few months later to Rosh Hashanah celebration in the house of one of his members of his synagogue. Then he came to see me one day and said he wanted to be involved more in interfaith relations. So, of course, I dusted the thing off the shelf and said, what about this idea of going to Jerusalem, Christian Jews and Muslims? So he jumped at the idea. And then we thought, well, now we'll get Sheikh Riyad Galil, invite him, see whether he'd be interested. And he, of course, immediately said he would be.
Right.
So there were the three of us, the priests, the rabbi and the sheikh.
Sounds like the start of a joke.
Start of a joke. And we worked very well together. We wanted to keep it very simple because we didn't know whether to be a big fizzer, you know. Things was it begin with a bang, end with a whimper.
That's right.
So we didn't want to involve the Jewish Community Council, the Islamic Council of Victoria, the Victorian Council of Churches, all these Christians and Jews, all these different organisations, for fear that it might be embarrassing because no one just fizzles out.
Yes.
So we proceeded on then just by the three of us together. We worked very well together, and we thought through the program in considerable detail.
Yes.
And the idea was that we would not be a study tour.
Right.
It would be a joint journey. We didn't use the word pilgrimage because in English, that is for Muslims, in English the word pilgrimage is reserved for the Hajj, to Mecca.
Oh, okay.
And this is part of the idea. We wanted to use language which was not a difficulty to anyone.
Yeah.
There was great care all the time, and this bore its fruit, great care all the time to use language, speak in a way that was acceptable and didn't bother people. The idea was then to visit the sacred places,
right,
but above all to meet each other, to meet each other, not on just ideas, but to meet each other and to really appreciate each other and to come close together in a profound way.
Yes.
So the process was started, and there were criteria. One of the criteria was that people should be willing to visit each other's sacred places.
Yeah.
Now this may seem ordinary, but it's not always so easy to move out of one's comfort zone and to go into places which may seem very strange. And then to read each other's texts. And this too might seem some people to go out of their comfort zone, or to read texts which are forbidden, and so on. So there was a process then of being willing to enter into each other's mind and heart and sacred place and tradition, their customs, their outlook upon life.
Right.
So all that business. Another criterion was not to talk on politics, because what did we know about politics, really, when in the end of the story?
Right.
We decided to make it not too big, so a group of 12, so that there would be enough interaction. It's a good dynamic 12, where we could really meet each other and spend time with each other and not get confused by the size of a group.
Yes.
Another thing was that people had to be willing to share a room, for cost reason, obviously, but also for more than that, it was that we had to bed, to be in the same room at night with someone of a different tradition.
Right. Okay.
And once again, to move out, you might say, into another zone.
Yes.
Of another tradition, another view. So this was valuable, and then of course the food laws and so on.
Yeah.
So the whole series of criteria of that sort. Now we advertised it, and we were delighted with the response, because there were over 40 expressions of interest. We would have been happy with a few.
Yes.
We had over 40 expressions of interest, and interestingly, most of those were Muslim.
Really?
And then the people that actually did go ahead and apply and to give reasons why they should be considered, so they had to justify, you might say. And of the ones who actually applied, then the majority were Muslim also. So we were delighted by that response.
Yes.
So we started the process of organising the people. We did seek sponsorship because we didn't want it to be too expensive.
Yeah, of course.
The actual cost per person would have been $4,000,
right?
And we thought that would be too much for many people to apply.
Yes.
To pay, and would exclude lots of people. So we got sponsorship. Is that the right word? We got grants from different people, Muslim, Jewish, and Christian. And that enabled us to drop the price down to $2,000.
Right.
So it was much more manageable. Still, it's a lot of money for some people.
That's
for many people, it's a lot of money, but it was more manageable.
Yeah. And talking about management, we're managing time here, so we'll go to a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Community television is a part of Australia's media landscape, and it's yours. On July 1, it could be gone from the airwaves forever. In its place, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to replace a vibrant and diverse media sector with years and years and years of white noise. When there is no cost to the Australian government to keep community television on the air, and in the absence of a viable alternative, we ask Minister Fletcher to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Which one are you going to get? This one, lady. Boy. Oh, you can't look. Just a minute. Okay. Alright.
Just needs a bit of discipline. Can I help you with your bags?
Thank you.
Autism. Change your reactions, change your actions.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Father John Dupuche, and he's a participant and an originator of the joint journey to Jerusalem. Father, you gave us a very good introduction to the preparation for this. So now you're at the destination. How did it go from there?
Well, can I speak about getting to the destination?
Surely.
Because that was an important part of the experience.
Right. Okay.
Because it was difficult.
Was it?
We arrived at Hong Kong airport, and the next leg was to go take El Al to Tel Aviv. But then the security is immense, as you can appreciate.
Yes.
And the Muslim members of our group were sort of questioned at length. And this made us lose the connection, which at the first sight might have seemed to be a pity, but on the contrary, it was an advantage, because the way we reacted, which was to support each other, and not to. So it created a bond, you might say, a stronger bond, because we helped each other in a difficult moment.
Right.
We had already met 3 times before, because this whole process of meeting and preparing as a group was important. But this actual event of having then to go through Istanbul and take a new flight and, you might say, lose some time, was in fact an advantage. Because we learnt then in the whole process to learn to support each other and to accept each other, to understand each other. Because the process of understanding was very important We had texts that we studied together from our different traditions, because so often there's misconceptions of what one religion teaches. People have false ideas about what they teach. So to have some clarity about it, and so the process then was to very evenly have 2 days devoted to Judaism, 2 days to Christianity, and 2 days to Islam. Of course, separated one from the other. So Jewish day, Christian day, Muslim day, Jewish day, Christian day, Muslim day, like that.
Right.
And so the whole idea of equality. And so we visit each other's sacred places. I can remember going particularly to the Esplanade of the Mosques, the Dome of the Rock, and the Sheikh Imam teaching us about Islam in those most beautiful surroundings of the Dome of the Esplanade there. Or the Jewish guide taking us around, and Rabbi Stein explaining some essentials of the Jewish faith, and going to the synagogue service, and going to the synagogue to the Sabbath meal in families, and observing the parents bless their children. It was just so beautiful.
Yes.
And then, of course, go to the sacred sites. The question arose about praying together. Because there's a big question about, can you pray together? Can Christians, Jews and Muslims pray together? We didn't resolve it completely by any means. It was a big topic. But when the Muslims were praying on the Friday in the Dome of the Rock, which non-Muslims cannot enter, that's fine, I have no problem with that. We were gathered on a terrace nearby, and we could see the Esplanade of the Mosques. And so we prayed with them, you might say, but from a distance. And then on another occasion, the lady, one of the participants, her relation passed away in her family, and she was obviously very distressed by that. And we prayed, we joined in prayer, and because we had formed bonds of friendship, strong bonds of friendship, we were able to join together to pray for her and her family back in Australia.
Yes.
And so from the common ground and the common purpose, we could pray together. And that was an important lesson for us, the whole question. Also, we dealt with the difficult texts, because there are difficult texts, that is, texts that have been used in our traditions to wound each other. There are deep wounds.
That's right.
And just scratch below the surface, and they're deep wounds.
They're there, that's right.
And they have to be faced. And so look at the texts which have been used to condemn each other, and they're definitely there in all three traditions.
Absolutely.
That was very valuable, to be open and clear and frank. And we were able to do that because we had formed bonds of friendship. We trusted each other. It was a massive thing. We trusted each other. We liked each other.
Yes.
And therefore we could look at the shadow, the dark side of the relationship without fear, because we knew that, okay, there's the bad part, but basically there's good between us.
Yes, yes.
And the question then arose, which we asked in Bethlehem, actually, in the shepherd's field of Bethlehem. We asked the question, how can we forgive each other? What is the process of forgiving each other?
Yeah.
It's one thing to say sorry. We must say sorry to each other. That's difficult enough. But to forgive each other, that is most important. And how can that be done? We didn't resolve the question, but at least we asked it.
You asked it,
and that was very, very valuable. So there was a process then. And then of handling these issues, visiting each other's sacred sites, trying to understand each other, going to Mass in the Holy Sepulchre, the Sabbath service, the events in the Dome of the Rock. And then, of course, the to handle the political situation. We didn't discuss it, but the former ambassador to Australia from Israel came to meet us at breakfast, after breakfast, and spoke to us, and spoke, as one would expect.
Yes.
The ambassadors presented his topics. And then we met with the president of the Palestinian University, an extraordinary man, Professor Sari Nusseibeh. And he spoke to us from, you might say, a Palestinian point of view. So we heard the different points of view. It was not for us to discuss or to judge or anything like that. Who are we to make any comments?
That's right.
But let's listen.
Yes.
And to try to understand. So there were valuable aspects there that we did.
Yeah, so the crossover of ideas and concepts in the context. Was that the powerful bit, to be in the context?
To be in the context, this place is sacred to three religions.
Yeah.
Profoundly sacred to three religions. The principal sites, principal sites to three religions are located in the one walled city. It's an incredible place.
And I shouldn't have asked that question, Father, because we're coming to a break. So we'll pick that up.
Right.
We'll take a break now.
You're there when they can't sleep. You're there when they forget. But who's there when they're at school? Asthma can be serious. It affects 1 in 10 Australians and claims 400 lives each year. Does anyone at your school know what to do in an asthma emergency? Log on to asthmafriendlyschools.org.au and find out if your school is asthma friendly. Shouldn't every school be asthma friendly?
To every child's development, an important message from the Australian Toy Association.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity. And we're speaking with Father John Dupuche. And we're closing in on this joint journey to Jerusalem, the end part, the way the conversations took place there and what happened back here in Australia. Father John, a lot of these issues you were discussing, but particularly the darker little passages from each of the scriptures, and you were together. How did you manage those meetings? What did they look like?
Well, we had a booklet, and the texts were provided in the booklet. And so, for example, we looked at the Passion narrative in the Gospel of Mark.
Right.
And I remember one of the Jewish participants responded so powerfully to the phrase, crucify him. And so this was clearly evoked all sorts of issues in her, you might say, collective memory.
Yes.
And so we had to handle that to some extent. We tried to say, well, it was only some members of the crowd who were calling for that, not the whole people, and so on and so forth. So we looked at a text like that. Or we looked at the texts in the tradition of the church which have been used to condemn Jews.
Yes.
And there's a series of them, ranging, of course, from very bad ones to the whole reform under more recent times, out of Vatican II particularly, and recent popes. So the whole shift and change.
Yeah.
So we would gather together, the time was set aside to look at a text. Then similarly for the Jewish text, there are Jewish texts that were used to condemn Christians, the Talmud and from the prayers of the synagogue and so on, and they were used as exclusion texts with all the consequences of that.
Yeah.
And so we looked at those, and the Jewish members were particularly, open to talking about that difficult side of things. Then we had the text there once again. We looked at them and tried to understand them. And then the Muslims presented some texts from the Quran, which we used in some negative texts. So we were really handling texts and being frank with them. But at the same time, and this is an important part, we didn't try to do too much in our journey.
No.
We visited the major sites, but not every site. You could spend years in Jerusalem and still not see everything.
Right.
So we wanted to go into depth, and therefore every evening we'd have an hour of debriefing.
Okay.
What did you experience? What did you think? What issues were raised during the course of the day, with Jewish Day, Muslim Day, Christian Day? What what touched you, what did you like, that type of thing, all those aspects. And then also a period for debriefing, for briefing.
Briefing,
So the next day then, we talked about what the next day was going to happen. The three wise men, or wise fools if you like, the leaders of the thing, we would meet every afternoon to see how things were going. And,
okay.
So that was the process then of looking at the texts, and they were valuable.
Yes, that's so fraught, and yet you seem to have managed it very well to handle that.
I think because we were friends and we knew we would not attack each other.
Okay.
We were perfectly safe.
Yep.
And so we could be frank.
Yeah.
And,
So safety's the issue, isn't it?
Safety's the issue, yeah.
Okay, so we're back in Australia. How did it go? What did you bring back? What did you think you brought back?
I think we brought back a way for people to relate, which is friendliness and frankness, the two together. To be friends and to be frank, to be open. No masks, no concealments, no... and I think this is a model for the way for people of different traditions to relate together, especially Jewish, Christian, Muslim, where the history has been so, lacking.
Yes.
And I think in the modern political context, I think that is the way to go. I mean, the modern political context is extremely complex, but I think an essential part of it is to relate in the way that perhaps we had related. So I think we come back with a message for others. Whether other groups might like to do the journey, a similar sort of journey, I think would be necessary to do it in something of the same outlook and purpose.
Right.
Different, of course, in many ways, but basically wishing to understand, to draw close, and to meet each other.
Was there one criteria which was stand out for all the people who were on that tour? There was one issue which they had this common ground, a powerful willingness or understanding or determination. What was it?
Well, I think I can remember particularly on the bus back from Bethlehem, after having discussed the question of forgiveness, there was a vitality, an effervescence in the group, which I found particularly true. And that stands out for me as being a particular value. So we could understood how we could be close to each other, although we are, in a sense, poles apart.
Yes.
And does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. It leads over into your experience. What does this carry over into your interfaith activities, because you're still involved in that for the Catholic Church?
Well, I would like to see that same type of... I hope to organise an interfaith journey to India next year. A Hindu Christian or Hindu Catholic journey.
That'd be powerful.
And so to handle that, there'll be a completely different style and character and meeting points. I suppose to do more of same in a way. We want the whole question of studying texts together.
Yes,
is very valuable. Studying text can become purely intellectual, and that's not ultimately what is valuable.
No.
But to understand the text of a person as being deep within them. And I can't read the Quran now any more longer without thinking and interpreting it in the light of the Muslim participants of the journey.
Absolutely.
They are the interpreters.
And the journey for us in this interview is coming to a close, Father. And I'd really like to thank you for taking us into this fascinating interface between Muslims, Christians, Jews, Christians and Muslims is the order that we put it in. And we would be great to be able to talk some later time.
I'd be very happy to do so.
Yes. Thank you very much. You've been watching Harmony and Diversity. We'll be back next week. Bye for now.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu
Alleluia. Om Mani Padme Om. Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with the Imam of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Victoria, Imam Junaid. Thanks for coming in, Imam.
Pleasure being here.
Now, you're a relatively young man, and you speak with what seems like maybe a Canadian accent built on top of an Australian accent.
Unfortunately,
How
yes.
did this happen?
Well, it happened, I grew up in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
My parents migrated here when I was in grade 4. And I grew up in Adelaide, the beautiful South. I grew up in the hills. I finished my primary and secondary education from there, after which I traveled to Canada and studied there at the Islamic School of Theology for comparative religions and linguistics. So living there for 7.5 years, unfortunately I've got a hybrid of Canadian/Australian/American accent.
Yes, that's right, because that's the formative time of your life at that age. So let's go back a bit before we go to that, to the 7-year course. How did that come about? Your parents are Ahmadiyya, of course.
Of course.
And were they fairly devout people?
They are. They still are. Just in regards to my parents, I was born in Pakistan. Like I mentioned earlier, I was in grade 4 when I migrated here. However, my father, he has a Russian background. My grandfather was Russian. So, we migrated here, and my father, he's a dentist. My mother, she's a teacher. So, but they were very devout Ahmadiyya Muslims, and they definitely inculcated those values and those morals within me as well, whilst growing up within Australia.
So, as a young man from that faith in Adelaide, what did it look like? When you say 5 or 6 years old, was there a mosque or was there any?
No, because those are very early days for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Adelaide. So there wasn't a mosque. In fact, we would rent out a small hall. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community was very small. I think they had barely 50 members back then. But we would rent out a small hall and we would gather there for our Friday prayers and other meetings, the weekly or the monthly youth meeting. So we would gather there and we would utilize just a community hall as a mosque, basically, on weekends.
So you, as a young school kid, how did you fit in? Was there ever any sort of tension about the fact that you were from a different religion, or because they were early days for Adelaide?
It was, and I get that question gets asked a lot of times, and surprisingly, I think just the part of Adelaide that I grew up in, or just the group of people that I was surrounded by, there were such lovely people. I had no issues being a Muslim, or for that matter, being an immigrant, essentially.
Yes.
So growing up, I had no issues whatsoever, in regards to being a Muslim, in regards to being, a young kid from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And, I think I fitted quite nicely into the social circles and into the society in Adelaide.
Oh, that's great. It should be like that. Okay, is it year 12 when you made this decision?
Yes.
How did that come about?
It's actually quite a funny story, but just stepping back a bit, I had other avenues that I was looking into, but I think essentially, my parents, they brought me up with such values, with such, Islam being, represented as a religion, as a champion for humanity. And, growing up in that post-2001 era, the unfortunate events in America that happened, and then the Afghan war and whatnot. So I saw Islam in media as being, completely misunderstood. It was that kind of Islam was alien to me. I did not grow up with that kind of Islam. My parents didn't teach me that kind of Islam. I didn't learn that kind of Islam from the Quran. And I still remember the first time I read the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I grew up and I realized that it's so unfortunate that the world has misunderstood this man of, humanitarian. He was a champion for humanity, I regarded him. And that kind of pushed me towards, this side of work, becoming an imam, towards going to Canada. And I still remember when I went into career counseling to my counselor, and we were looking at, different avenues that I could pursue in universities. And I went in there one day and I told him what I wanted to do, how I wanted to travel to Canada and study there in the 7-year program. And it's funny, he just, put down his glasses, he just put down his pen, and he said, in the past 30 years, you're the first kid that has come through who wants to be an imam. So, from there the journey began, and it's taken me, to this seat right here, representing Ahmadiyya Muslim Association as an imam.
Well, let's make that unfold. And he also would have said to you the first one that had a rhyming surname and family name.
Yes, definitely. My first name and my last name, they rhyme.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you this internally, how did that feel? Was there sort of was a spiritual driver there?
I think there definitely would have. I mean, of course, there was a spiritual drive, but also just, above that, just a moral or ethical drive of, representing the Islam that I know, the Islam which, many Australians, and for that matter, many people around the world are not aware of. And that drive to, present that face of Islam, present that face of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I think essentially that drove me, towards this side of work, this line of work.
And that's quite a big challenge that you've taken on, because the media seems quite set upon, would you call them inaccuracies? They certainly seem to be inaccuracies.
And it's not true. You can't completely blame the media.
No.
Some blame also lies with uneducated Muslims who have misunderstood completely. They've misunderstood the Quran, they've misunderstood what Holy Prophet Muhammad stood for, what he represented. They've misunderstood Islam overall. So, blame lies, with both sides. But again, my job here is to, rectify the doings of those people.
Absolutely. And blame also rests with the person who made a clock. We'll just run out of time. We'll be back in a minute.
No worries.
We'll be back in a moment.
If a man's home is his castle, his shed is his kingdom. It's a place men can hang out with a few mates, build a few things, even if you haven't before, and give back to the community. No man should be without a shed. The Australian Men's Shed Association is working to provide a shed for all Australian men, and they have over 400 already. Visit your local shed, build your community, and make a difference. Find a shed near you. It's time to give back.
The tax office can take money directly out of people's accounts, but you're not allowed to know. The elderly are being abused and neglected in nursing homes, but you're not allowed to know. The government can raid journalists for reporting the truth if it says you're not allowed to know. It couldn't happen in Australia. It's happening now. When the government hides the truth from you, what are they covering up? Authorised by Australia's Right to Know, Sydney.
I'm here to let you know that Inline Plus will return from late May on Community TV and here on YouTube and Facebook. We will start off with 4 episodes shot in Adelaide, and then we will move on to some programs from Sydney and Melbourne. If you would like to get involved in our Sydney or Melbourne shoots, please get in touch with us now. For further information on the show, please visit inlineplus.net. Until then, we look forward to seeing you then, and bye for now.
Each week on MELfeed.video, join us for Northern Access Television's general interest chat show, NAT Chat. Each episode features interesting and informative interviews from people of all walks of life. Weekly topics include community groups, religious topics, and professional people covering many different subject areas. That's NAT Chat every Monday night at 8 p.m. here on MELfeed.video.
Hallelujah.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with the Imam of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Victoria, Imam Junaid. We got the story to the point where you made the decision to go to Canada. What did you have to do to apply to go to that, is it a university?
It's more or less, yes, it is
yeah.
a university, yes.
So how do you apply for that? What's the story?
The process involves, of course, an application. I just contacted the university and they sent out forms and visa forms because, again, you're traveling to another country to study, so you need all those visa-related issues to be filled out. But other than that, they have a certain criteria in regards to what kind of basic knowledge you need. And first and foremost is you need secular education. You can't just be totally devoted to the religious side. You need that secular education. So grade 12, high school graduation is the minimum criteria. Secondly, you need to have that fundamental understanding of, the Quran, this Islam, about Prophet Muhammad, and just basic stuff. Because it's a 7-year program, it's a quite extensive program. In fact, I think, in secular studies in universities, that would be equivalent to a PhD perhaps.
Yes.
So it's a very extensive program, and we cover all sorts of courses, and at the same time you have to understand that you can't just go there completely unmindful of secular education. So that kind of emphasis is also made on those courses, also made in the Islamic Institute of Theology.
Right. And whereabouts exactly is it located?
So it's located all around the world. We have Ahmadiyya Muslim Association has its college in Ghana in Africa, in Canada, in London, in Germany, and in Pakistan. Also in India and Bangladesh, I believe.
Oh, okay. And your choice of Canada was what?
My choice of Canada, I think, came naturally because, again, it's in the Western world. It's familiar with the norms and traditions that I've grown up to value.
Yeah.
And also that language barrier, it's in English, so that always helps.
Yeah.
That always helps.
Okay, so you come through the gates carrying your kit bags and say, right, I'm here for 7 years. What happens? How does it build from there?
So it's a 7-year program divided into various categories. Because it's not only Islamic theology, as I mentioned, it's a school, it's a University of Islamic Theology, Comparative Religions and Linguistics. So, of course, you're becoming an imam, so you do learn, you do verse yourself in Islamic theology. But other than that, we live in a global world. We live in a world where, you're connected with all sorts of people who might be living in other corner of the world. So keeping that in mind, we also study comparative religions for about 3.5 years. So an imam who would be graduating from the Islamic Institute of Theology and Comparative Religions, he would study Christianity, say, for about 3 years, and amongst other religions, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism. And other than that, you would also study linguistics. You would study Arabic language, its grammar, it's how it evolved over the ages. You would study grammar from the Quran, you would study Persian. So, all these things combine at the end and, present in the eventual form of an imam at the end.
The study of language, is that a critical part of like the original interpretation of the Quran? What original language was it written in? It's always been Arabic.
It's always been Arabic.
Yeah,
so essentially, understanding Arabic, where it came from, it's pre-Islamic literature, it's post-Islamic literature. Understanding that and studying that, critically is essential into understanding Quran and its language.
Right.
Definitely.
So that's a focused bit. So when you're going through, say, the comparative religions, how is that presented? What's the baseline? Like, the baseline obviously is Islam, but so if you're looking at Christianity, say, in Islam, what are the key focuses, say, for Christianity?
So the key focuses would be, of course, the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially all Christianity should derive from the Bible. So you study the Bible extensively, its history, its formation into present state, how it came to be.
Right.
Biblical historians, you study them as well in regards to biblical history, how accurate or inaccurate it is. And then you study various lives of prophets which are mentioned in the Bible, say Prophet Moses or Prophet Jesus, of course.
Right.
Because being a Muslim, you also regard them as prophets. So studying them is, part of Islam.
And in studying the Old Testament, you're in part at least studying Judaism anyway.
Of course, of course.
And of course, you'd be familiar with the expression that they are the religions of the book, because that is the common factor.
And that expression is also used within Quran as well.
Yes.
So
it's a common seed.
Definitely.
That's quite powerful. So as you're going through that, what were your ideas as it was evolving, as you were becoming more aware, more trained? Did you have a perception of where you might go, what you might want to do?
Somewhat, but I think the drive or eventually I did not know that I will end up in Victoria. All I knew is that, I'll graduate and then I'll find out what happens after. I could have gone to any part of the world.
Oh, okay.
But I think the drive or the purpose is, something that you keep in mind. The eventual outcome you keep in mind. And for me, that was always presenting the true face of Islam, the true teachings of Islam, the true teachings of Quran, which have been completely misunderstood, and especially in this day and age.
Yes.
So for me, that was always the drive. For me, it was always trying my utmost to present the true character, the truth of Prophet Muhammad, the true teachings of Prophet Muhammad, what he actually represented. So for me, that was always the drive, regardless of where I end up or what I become after I graduate.
Okay. Now, I'm aware of the fact that we're running out of time, so I'm not going to ask you this question, but I will ask you afterwards, is to perhaps illuminate some of the information which grew from this in the sense of where you see the little trip-ups that, without getting too political about it,
of course,
other aspects of Islam maybe encounter.
Of course.
Can we do that?
Yes, of course.
We'll be back in a moment.
If you were living on the streets, wouldn't you want more than just your best friend to keep you safe, warm and dry? Donate to Backpack Bed for Homeless and give warm, waterproof protection and dignity tonight. Call 1300 OzHelp.
Most of us experience life's ups and downs, but we can always appreciate the finer details that make life worth living. But for 1 in 5 of us, mental illness can make us lose sight of the big picture. That's when Paran Mission can lend a helping hand. We've been caring for the community for over 60 years, finding a place for people with no place. Show your support and stand up for mental illness. Visit our website and make a donation today.
Tick, 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 fashion.
Tick, 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 fun.
Tick, 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 food.
Tick, 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 festivals.
All make up 15 fabulous minutes.
In a half-hour special.
Presented to you by Jacqueline and Steve.
Every week. Time's up.
Transports of Distant Delight is a mixed selection of transportation pictures from here and there and almost everywhere, but not quite. Some quirky, some mundane, some from the past, perhaps reflecting a transit system that has vanished into history, and some from thriving transport entities that continue to endure despite the constant pressures from the all-pervasive motorcar. Enjoy.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony in Diversity, and today we're speaking with the Imam of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association of Victoria, Imam Jumood. You were talking about the fact that maybe there's some misinterpretations of the Quran, and it has serious effects through the world. What would some of those be? Could you illustrate some of them?
I think perhaps one of the most misunderstood concepts of Islam would be jihad, for example. And unfortunately, even Muslim youth have misunderstood this concept, and a lot of Muslims, even Muslim hierarchy, have misunderstood this concept. Quran represents the concept of jihad, or the word jihad essentially translates to striving or struggling. It has no connection with war, or waging war or killing someone. So keeping that in mind, Quran says that the greatest form of jihad you can do is with the Quran. And that is essentially improving yourself in spirituality, detaching yourself from this world, vain desires of this world, and just striving to be a better human being, essentially. So that is the greatest form of jihad that a person can do.
Yes.
So just talking about different types of jihad, I'll give you another example. That once a man came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and he said that I want to take part in this battle and do jihad. So the Prophet replied that, do you have a mother? And he said, yes, I do have an elderly mother at home. And he said, then the greatest form of jihad that you can do is go and take care of your mother. And he repeated this 3 times.
Yes.
So, this is the true, representation of jihad, of striving to be a better person, striving to be a better human being, striving to be a better child, for that matter.
Yes.
So this essentially is the true teaching of jihad, which has been completely misunderstood, by the world in general and also by Muslims.
Going to Mecca is part of a jihad, isn't it, for a person to?
Of course, a person, like I said, a person who strives and struggles for something better, that's a form of jihad. Now, of course, there is a jihad which is related to war, but even that jihad is completely misunderstood. For example, Quran says one of the reasons for jihad is to establish worship of God. And Quran actually says that in order to safeguard churches, synagogues, and temples and mosques, one should do jihad. And unfortunately, we see Muslims, or so-called Muslims in the Middle East, who are going into churches and destroying churches and burning churches. So that's completely contrary to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and for that matter, Quran.
Yes, and of course that misunderstanding is repeated in other religions as well. Things that have been done, driven by different interpretations of the Bible.
Of course. I mean, all we have to do is look at Ireland and its recent history in regards to Catholics and, the other factions and Protestants. And, they had killings in the name of religion, in the name of Christianity. However, we know that Jesus did not stand, Jesus, peace be upon him, did not stand for anything which they represented in Ireland.
Yes, absolutely. So that is a major one. Are there any others that come to mind, perhaps?
I think perhaps Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he's a major part of Islam. I mean, he brought about Islam to this world 1,500 years ago. And I think his character, his life, his teachings are completely misunderstood in this day and age as well. By, I wouldn't say vast majority of Christians, but I would say there is that minority, a very vocal minority, which has misrepresented Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his teachings.
Yes.
Of course. I mean, just in regards to, humanity, when I personally have studied his life, I would regard him as a champion for, universal human rights. His final sermon before he passed away essentially declares human rights which were only declared in the Western world in the past 150 years or so.
Yes.
In regards, specifically I'm referring to his final sermon, and he raised his 2 hands and he joined them together, and he declared that just as the fingers of these 2 hands stand equal, likewise every human being is created equal, regardless of his color, his creed, his religion.
Yeah.
So essentially, those were, basic human rights which he emphasized to look upon before you look at someone's, color, creed, and religion. Likewise, he told his followers that, a black man does not have any superiority over a white man, and likewise vice versa. Likewise, an Arab man has no superiority over a non-Arab, and also vice versa. So these teachings, you know, he implemented them 1,500 years ago, when we see, unfortunately, Western civilizations, you know, living in a period of dark ages, where women were being burnt for being, you know, so-called for practicing, you know, witchery or being witches.
Yes.
So just in those regards, when one essentially studies Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his life through an unbiased mind, through an open mind, you will find him to be a champion for, you know, humanity.
Yes, but of course the problem is that most people don't get access to that sort of information.
Of course they don't.
And it doesn't. So if someone was interested to look at Muhammad's, Prophet Muhammad's life, where would they go? Just an ordinary citizen, what would be a simple book that they could look at?
I think we've gone past the stages of looking into books. We are living in a world of media and online websites. You know, there are plenty of them out there. And one such website being, I would say, which I would highly recommend for anyone who wants to study the life of this man, would be www.alislam.org. And you would definitely find, you know, books over there which portray the true face of this champion for humanity, Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Good.
Definitely.
That's excellent. And look, we're really coming up to the end.
Unfortunately.
We've got a lot more to talk about. Could you come back next week? That would be really appreciated.
Of course, it'd be my pleasure.
Thank you very much, Imam. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with a further interview with Imam Junaid.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu
Australians have recycled enough printer cartridges to cover Bondi Beach 12 times. That's kept 11,000 tonnes of valuable resources out of landfill. Drop your used original cartridges into the special boxes at participating retail outlets, and they'll be turned into new products, from pens to road surfaces. Help us keep up the good work. Find out more at cartridges.planetark.org.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
The following program carries an MA classification and may contain adult themes and coarse language. MELfeed.video advises that it is suitable for viewers aged 15 plus. The following
Substitutionary atonement. Once upon a time, the young lady went down into the underworld. The young lady Inanna went down into the underworld. Congressman Leo Ryan went down to Jonestown in Guyana to check out the administration of the People's Temple. An authoritarian administration might be acceptable for Jim Jones's temple deep in the jungle, as long as the people were free to come and go. But the young lady Inanna like a one-woman representative legislature, reserving the right to question her sister, laid her hand upon the executive throne. Stripped naked she was, and all alone. So the underworld judiciary caught her, and brought her to underworld justice, slaughter. Hell hath no fury like her sister taught her. The congressman's shot, dead meat on the bone. And the rest of us wait for the other shoe to drop. Jesus Christ, well, all must die. Jim Jones makes a wonderful hue and cry to prove that his death, mother, mother, is ours. We'll all be dead in a matter of hours, drinking the Kool-Aid. Enki, the god, sends his servitors, intersex, classless, odd, to rescue the young lady from whatever she's got herself into. Jesus stands by. She knew what she is doing. Legislature, judiciary, executive, there's a balance. It's not predicated upon her innocence. After all, she's the goddess of sex and of violence. But her sacrifice isn't a meaningless thing. Why did she go there? What did she bring back from there with her? Its presence. She's brought back with her from nowhere. And does she exist? Do you?
And we hug and we're feeling alright. One more smile and I swear that I'll stay with you for the rest of the night. Do you know? Will you do what I do? Will you do what I do? When I wake in the morning and you're holding me near, you open your eyes, open your thighs, say the words that you want me to hear, and I do. Saturday and we're feeling okay. You make me scream, you make me dream, make me love you for the rest of our days. Do you know? Saturday and we're feeling okay. You make me dream, make me scream, make me love you for the rest of our days. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Thank you.
Here's a bit of political satire left over from the Howard era. It would be out of date if they let the people out of Guantanamo obey, but they haven't. If you ever go across the sea to Cuba, if only at the closing of your day, you'll sit and watch the moon rise on Havana and watch the sun go down on Gitmo Bay. To see the guards, the guns, the razor wire, the prisoners in their cages turning grey, and hear the Korans flushing down the toilets, and watch the happy torturers at play. The Brits and Yanks all gander upon the Arabs to get their hands on those poor bastards' oil, and blamed us on a phony war on terror to keep their warlike masses on the boil. And if we're ever gonna have a future, and I'm hoping that we may have one someday, it'll start the day that Blair and Bush and Howard are safe behind the wire in Gitmo Bay. In Gitmo Bay. Thank you.
Waiting for the summer. A hot sunny morning, clouds are blue. The wind is slowly moving in. I'm waiting for the heat to touch. Soccer. Soccer is my life, not yours. I'll play until I reach my dream. No one will stop me from my most loved game. I train hard, play hard to get better. I love this game. I want to be a pro one day. That's my dream, to be the pro. This one's about when my dad went overseas and I didn't go with him. The wait. Dad has gone overseas. I miss him. Calls me 2 times a week. Sends a postcard to remind me of his love. The weather here is cold. I feel the same. Where he is warm. I wish I was there too. The weekends are lonely. I stay indoors and have memories of my father taking me to Tassie. Dad, get up, I shout. He goes, go and have breakfast. I'll get up by myself, he says. So I come back, he's still in bed. So I gave him a body slam. He says, I'm up.
This one was written a while ago too, back in 2000. It's called Silver Strings. Floating endlessly on silver strings, I feel as though I have wings that hold me in the sky, and yet I cannot learn to fly, for I have no control of where I go, and there is no destination that I know. Thank you.
We want to show you what's dangerous about this river, but we can't. That's the problem. You can't see ice-cold water, snags like tree branches or strong currents. So when enjoying our rivers, remember, wear a life jacket, avoid alcohol around water, never swim alone, and learn how to save a life. Our rivers are beautiful, but more Australians drown here than anywhere else. It's simple. Respect the river. Head to royallifesaving.com.au/respect the river for more information.
This season, we need your help to control Queensland fruit fly in our region. Your infested fruit is destroying your neighbour's harvest and the livelihood of our orchardists and their families. Pick up and dispose of fallen fruit. Infected fruit in your backyard is a breeding ground for fruit fly. Monitor fruit fly numbers by hanging traps in your fruit trees. Traps can be purchased at your local hardware stores. Net your fruit trees and susceptible vegetables with fruit fly specific netting. Contact us for information.
Community television is a part of Australia's media landscape and it's yours. On July 1, it could be gone from the airwaves forever. In its place, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to replace a vibrant and diverse media sector with years and years and years of white noise. When there is no cost to the Australian government to keep community television on the air, and in the absence of a viable alternative, we ask Minister Fletcher to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Slice of life, action sword, Moe cute, adventure game, Tsundere Lolita, magic Bishonen, chiseled abs, busty women. Cover nose, please! Ah! It's so weird.
I'd like to publicly thank and kind of unveil en masse for the very first time. There's an art student who one night while I was particularly, how should I put this delicately, floating on a sea of Dutch courage, Yeah, I didn't have a Guinness that night. Otherwise, I would say, dancing through the Irish mist. I laid the challenge to her. I said, look, everyone tells me they're going to do stuff, but few people actually do it. This is what Islam's about. This is why hope happens from Brunswick for all of Melbourne, all of Australia. Will you render this image from my head? Because if I draw, it's going to be stick people. And she said, yeah, this will become the poster for Muddy River Slam. She's not done with it, not yet, but I think it says everything I really was trying to say that night. The mic is tied to the river. We're all tied to rivers. That's why it's called the Muddy River Slam. Everybody loves the ocean, but it's a dirty river, even one that can flood your home, that actually makes stories and ties people together. Whether it be the Nile, the Ganges, the Yangtze, the Mississippi, the Yarra, the Mary Darling, you get the picture. So that's why it's called Muddy Rivers Slam.
Poets are the scavengers of human emotion. We don't really have any of our own, so we'll steal them where we can, pick them off the bones of misery. Poets love war, famine, massacres, dying children, anything to make you weep. Poets are miserable cunts. Miserable, sad, pathetic, disingenuous, backstabbing, lousy arseholes, and I'm a poet, so you put it together. All poets are waiting to die, just hoping they'll get to drag it out long enough to get a really good, epic, final poem out of it. We don't mind suffering as long as there's a poem in it. Miserable bastards, each and every single one of us. I want to be a truck driver. Shit, I want to be a truck. Big wheels, smashing down a highway, fucking not caring about anything. Get out of my way, world. I want to play golf. Professionally. Golfers have it easy. All they have to do is golf and receive checks. Poets don't get no stinking checks. Poets eat air and empty applause. No one likes you, poets. No one fucking likes you.
Don't ask about the weather. As I open my eyes, I search through the broken wooden blinds and ask what today could be. My eyes strain for a glimpse of the elusive sun, a signal that the grey and gloomy night has passed, that warmth and light will once again glint along my withered skin. But my ears confirm the worst. The rain drumming down on the tin roof, that familiar echo that rhythms through my skull. Tut-tut-tut, tut-tut-tut, tut-tut-tut. I place my head upon the pillow. I close my eyes and yearn to soar out the window to the great outdoors, where I place a checkered picnic rug upon a grassy slope. A gentle breeze rustles through my hair as I look above at the endless blue sky. Let the sun soak through my wounded body. But I open my eyes and the darkness remains. And I know too well the weather pattern that will ensue. It is mid-morning. I have one chance while the rain is weak. If I look carefully, then I can find my umbrella. I can venture forth to Lygon Street and sip lattes and watch my cigarette smoke unfurl. Dwell on increasingly probable possibilities. I would be out in the world, no longer trapped by the corners of these four walls. I could throw my passion, my life into the open spaces, but it's too late in the day now. The drumbeat of the clouds crescendo. Tut-tut-tut, 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 tut-tut-tut. The signal that the floods will soon begin. I watch as the brackish water leaps through the park. The roaring torrent rages down my street, smashes along the terraced houses. I start to panic. The fear circulates through my arteries, causing my breath to grasp savagely at the air. I force my mind to focus on an escape plan. The door is but 5.5 steps away. A signal fires from my brain, ordering my limbs to move, to fight or to fly. But my muscles have atrophied and they cannot obey. The first current leaks through my bedroom door. It slowly climbs, climbs, climbs until I see my little world submerged. My bookshelf, my writing desk, my guitar all sink into watery graves. My tears that seep into their depths make no difference. My bed is raised on higher ground, so I am safe, but I have nothing left but my thoughts and the darkness. There has been a snap cold change shift in my direction. I pull my bed covers up to my ears and I listen to the lingering rain. Tut, 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 tut. I let the sound lull me to sleep, where I will dream of sunny days.
Speak on, Doug Nichols. Speak on, William Cooper. Speak on, Shadrach James. For your roots, they grow deep in this land. Back to the time when you were sculpted from this earth and your clay body was given life by the breath of Bunjil, the eagle. Out of your dreaming, life was born. And so I see that you have lived here much longer than I. For my people, we did not settle in this country. We stole it. We came and gave you the scriptures and told you of a loving God as we took your land and poisoned its heart, as we took your tongue and inscribed it with our own, as we took your women and inscribed them with our men, as we took your culture and set fire to your stories, making nightmares from your dreamings and diseases in your bodies. We took the head off your dignity and buried our own. When we came as the civilized ones, put a bounty on your head and legally we shot you and starved you, enslaved you and maimed you. With words like savages we berated you, till in our might we overpowered you, till in our fear we defeated you. And you cried, all dead, all dead, all gone, all gone. So would you speak on, Charles Dixon? Speak on, Patrick Dodson? For you were the outcasts in your homeland. You were the skeletons in our closets. You are the ones who expose this lie that we are the civilized ones, the progressive ones, the humane ones. For white Australia has a black history, these years of occupation, and black Australia has a white history, these years of domination. So speak on, for the blood-stained footprints are slowly fading. Speak. For each passing year and each changing season, the histories have been written, but each page was constructed, each person adjusted, each history tainted, till the truth of a genocide in this land of sweeping plains was swept under carpets and whispered around corners, a shadow story of myth long forgotten, of a war that once stained this dark earth red and yet would never make it into my school books. For it is far easier to look at Hitler and Stalin than our own. It is easier to recognize the terror in another land than in our own. The terror born of these hands when slaughtered to near extinction. Victoria's population reduced from 60,000 to 2,000 in 30 years. This is our killing fields. This is our genocide. This is our history, and I am ashamed. So would you spear pierce my heart as you once speared our Governor Phillip? And would you speak on? Speak on, Simon Wonga. Speak on, William Barak. Speak on, for this is your land. Speak on.
Would your life be different if you chose to swim between the flags instead of that unpatrolled beach? If you'd checked the depth before you dived into shallow water, if you didn't swim under the influence of alcohol and chose not to swim at night, if you only listened to the lifesavers' warnings.
Make the right choice this summer. Enjoy our beautiful beaches. Always swim between the red and yellow flags.
If we can't see you, we can't save you.
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the plunge. Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 655
1300 655
It could change your life.
For over 80 years, the Royal Flying Doctor Service has been providing a mantle of safety across our vast land. Last year alone, they attended to more than 250,000 patients and flew over 23 million kilometres. That's the equivalent of flying to the moon and back every fortnight. Whether it's an emergency rescue, delivery of urgent medical supplies, or an air ambulance transfer to a major city hospital, the Flying Doctor is always out there for everyone. Let's keep it that way. Donations to the Royal Flying Doctor Service can be made online, by cheque or by calling the number on your screen now. All donations over $2 are tax deductible. So please give generously and help keep the doctor flying.
One eye, the sun. One eye, the moon. Blindfolded, a doll dances solo to the piano, forte, then lento. On the wall of the Westgarth overpass, electric blue lights hang crooked and scintillate against the bricks. Her simple white dress glistens in the twilight as the candles of the city flicker in the distance. I've just arrived. I talk to the brunette on the tangerine bicycle and her friend with half a haircut who sits in the gutter wearing a purple dress. We whisper our words like children in a church. They too have no idea, but are amused nonetheless. Between the three of us, we share a rolled cigarette and stare at the blind marionette as she pirouettes, shoeless on the pavement. For a moment, our vision is kidnapped by a giant metallic centipede crawling down High Street. Our view is obscured by the passengers on board whose eyelids are stapled shut. Automobiles drive past without a thought, their bright eyes forego a second glance. Behind tinted windows, automata sit in the back seat, but do not see the ballerina or hear a note from the piano. Kublai Khan says to Marco Polo, "Why are you always looking over your shoulder, gazing off into the past when everything is within your grasp?" On the opposite footpath, the pianist named Sunday plays his battered Steinway. The couple next to me slurp salty gazpacho with spoons of crusty sourdough. An old man in the bushes takes photos with a telescope. Then the playing stops. Her black blindfold unravels. Their eyes meet for the first time. Time stops, if only for a moment. And there is calm. A calm that scars my heart like tram tracks on an artery. They bow to their street-side audience. Hands applaud, and the wolf ululates with joy.
Creation is the question that keeps on running through my mind. I pray I find a purpose for every day of my life. I'm asking, how do I create the motivation in myself to be great? Am I alright? Somehow, some way, someday, today I will create another step on the way to the day when I know how to say I know that this is me. A day from no delay, a day I'm less the same when I'm one and the same who I define myself to be. Take a breath, count 1, 2, 3. Take it easy on yourself. This is what I say to me. You've let the pressure of this world know how to make you weak. Don't let it paralyze your senses, make you forget how to see. So I'm seeking information in my investigation, and my heart is always praying. I ask that God be my guide. It's only lies without Him. I'm only blind without Him. So I surrender all my will to the will divine. When my will, do what you will. Oh, will divine. When my will, do what you will. When my will, do what you will, oh will divine, do what you will. Salvation is the question that keeps on pounding at my soul. It's the be-all and end-all of every day of my life. And no, my fear can take hold so easily and so cold, make me forget until all my desires be sold. I'm back to the start, questioning what I create to take this journey of mine and break the idols inside and change the state of mind that I've realized. I guess I gotta be born again, a spirit and fire. I've let temptations of the world make me forget where my heart was supposed to be, indeed satisfied of its need. And so I bleed from my eyes, run my scarlet tears. It's hurting deep, it's gone through, it's almost killing me. So I'm seeking his forgiveness for every day I witness. In my core I truly will this, I will never stop to try. It's only lies without him, I'm only blind without him. So I surrender all my will to his will divine. Well, do with my will what you will, oh will divine. Do with my will, do what you will. With my will, do what you will, oh will divine. Do what you will. And question after question, I keep on asking questions. Decision and position I need about my position for every step I'm creating for as long as I'm living, and given a breathing spirit and the right to be human. And sometimes I'm tripping and slipping and losing ground, walking around not knowing what's about to be found, searching for a sound, a voice, a choice, a destination. I'm bound, and now for my tomorrow is something clear, something loud. The strength of my steps alone is hopeful at best. What I create by myself is not enough for this test, not even close, it's so unfair sometimes. Yet I gotta try to strive when this task at hand is larger than life. So I'm seeking his wisdom, he is larger than life. My heart tries to contain one who is larger than life. I've walked enough by myself, I've used up all of my strength, so I surrender all my will to his will divine. With my will, do what you will, oh will divine. With my will, do what you will. With my will, do what you will, oh will divine. With my will, do what you will, oh will divine. With my will, do what you will.
Hi, I'm Leonardo Puglisi from the 6 News team. In these tough times, it's important to keep your family and your friends safe by listening to government regulations. Avoid outdoor activity with the exception of exercise and getting essential items as well as medical care. Remember, we're all in this together.
After over 25 years of broadcasting into homes across Australia, the Minister for Communications, Paul Fletcher, intends to switch off community television stations by June 30 this year. Community television provides an open access, free-to-air platform for Australians to connect, to learn, to educate, to express themselves, and showcases our diverse and vibrant local communities. But on July 1, it will be gone from the airways forever. Instead, it will be replaced by up to 5 years of white noise. The federal government has no alternative planned use for the spectrum community TV occupies and will be unable to do anything in its place for years to come. There is no upside and no explanation. We ask Minister Fletcher to show his support for the remaining stations and to keep local TV on TV. For more information, email info@c31.org.au.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Today's show is about peace, tranquility, because we're here at the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival. I noticed you're bringing the whole family here today.
Yeah, we thought we'd come as a unit. That's my grandson, though.
Your grandson, how are you?
Sure.
Good. So what brings you here? Why the mind, body, spirit?
Well, I'm a Rosicrucian mystic, and I just like to come and see how some of the other things are, how the developments in different areas.
Do you have to be open-minded?
I think you do. I think that we're in the age of Aquarius today now, and I think that people are more able to, see what's happening and the new developments, because this is the age of enlightenment. So.
And there you have it. I know most people are.
All about.
There's many skeptics here, or not so.
Well, I think you're always going to get skeptics. I mean, there's things around here that some of the things I don't understand and comprehend, but. It's just good to have a look about and
see what's out there.
See what's happening, yeah.
Well, enjoy your journey.
In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Each time you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in health and harmony, peace and calmness. And each time you breathe out, you are breathing out stress and tension, perhaps the hurts of the day.
I'm inside a pyramid healing chamber. Now, I'm only allowed to be in and you've got to be out. Why is that?
Because your energy has to be really purified by yourself without interfering with mine. And that's why it's very important to be, visualize. When you actually do a meditation, a group meditation, then it can be 8 people. But if it's just only one person has to be.
So what is it about the magic of the pyramid? What's the discovery?
The geometrical shape of the pyramid actually provides this energy field to heal the body. And
that stays within the pyramid?
It's in the pyramid, that's right. So in order to receive, you must enter the pyramid.
Now, I'm noticing, obviously, before I was in this pyramid, I stood out of it, and the energy in here is very different. That's kind of bizarre. That's really strange.
And you can only say that because this is the experience, because I couldn't really tell you before, unless you actually go in there and experience. I couldn't condition you to tell you, you're going to feel this or that or the other.
There is an invisible wall here, and it's kind of, I can't figure it out. Is it my mindset just saying that, or?
It doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It's the outcome of that. If you actually feel the energy, you don't have to actually analyze or really search where it comes from.
It's very relaxing, I must say. I might stay here all day. And you got the crystal at the top too, which is what, the focus of the crown, or?
As a neutralizer, like if you have emotions attached to your physical body, once you enter the pyramid, the crystal will disintegrate that and allows you to relax, meditate.
Breathe in the peaceful energy that surrounds you as you relax.
Talking about music, nice music, spiritual music, calming music. What is it about the music?
Calming and relaxing and uplifting.
Uplifting?
Yes.
What's something uplifting?
The healing music, yes, very.
So this is for practicing Tai Chi and all that?
Tai Chi and to play during massage.
Music's important?
Very important.
Is it healing as well?
Well, it's for all our senses, isn't it?
Yes, part of one of those many senses here.
It makes us feel good.
Makes you feel good? Makes me feel good. I feel good about that. Well, let's listen to some music.
All right then.
There you go. Oseo. Beautiful. And now say good day. Touch your hearts. Same thing. It's a greeting, that's all it is. Oseo means greetings in Cherokee. Simple, isn't it? Same as you say good day. We touch our hearts only to signify that we're coming from our hearts. and what we're speaking is truth.
Starting with the purifying water.
Well, I'm just thirsty.
Oh, okay. But it's good to start with, yes. And are you a spiritual person?
Not necessarily. I'm just coming along to see what good massage is available.
Okay, so it's all about the relaxation.
Yeah.
So are you a bit of a cynic then when it comes to...
No, I'm not a cynic. I wouldn't say I'm hooked though.
No.
I'm not a junkie.
No.
No, definitely not.
So what are you into apart from the massage? Crystals,
The eternal
aromatherapy?
water.
The internal water.
Eternal water.
Fountain of youth.
Probably aromatherapy.
Aromatherapy.
Smells nice.
It does.
If it smells nice and it feels nice, then it's good.
That's all you need. A nice hot bath, a few candles, and aromatherapy, and away you go.
That's it.
Sounds
I'm
good
done.
to me. Shall we go?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
For you to take away with, and I'm sure there'll be phone numbers, yes, on the back. So if you've got any questions.
What is it about aromatherapy?
Aromatherapy is using essential oils to enhance mind, body and spirit.
So when did someone discover aromatherapy or the power of aromatherapy?
Oh, a long time ago. There's been evidence of distilling essential oils like 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. The Egyptians have used aromatherapy quite extensively, so have the Romans, the Greeks, yes.
Has it been forgotten about for a period of time and like now all of a sudden seems to be everywhere and candles and everything? Has it sort of been reintroduced?
I think it's, definitely becoming more popular again, absolutely.
What are good oils? Obviously we all know lavender. What does lavender do?
Lavender,
Relaxation?
Yeah, lavender's a very calming, soothing, relaxing essential oil. Yeah. So,
Other oils?
Sorry?
Talk about some other oils.
Oh, okay, sure. We've also got eucalyptus. It's another lovely oil that most people would be familiar with. So
Does great washing, I know that, but what else could it do?
Wash, exactly. It's also a good disinfectant. Has disinfectant
As an odour
properties
property?
Odour, it's very refreshing and stimulating, clearing, so it's good. Having a sniff can actually clear the head, clear the
yes,
sinuses
of course,
and things
flu,
like that.
yes.
Yep, well, that's
And some other, what are the most popular? Because you can mix as well,
Yes,
make
you can.
remedies.
You can make lovely blends and things like
Love
that.
potions?
Love potions, yes, you could.
Okay, what's a love potion?
Well, they'd be sort of your aphrodisiac essential oils. So things like jasmine would be one, lang lang would be another one, clary
Combining
sage,
together and rubbing over your partner's body?
Yeah, you can rub it over your partner's body, you sure can.
That's why it's called the love potion.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah.
As you relax even more deeply.
Now, right behind me, there's a whole lot of talking going on. For $25, you can get a psychic. You have to wait in a queue about 3 hours long, and they're going to tell you your future. I could probably do that. I'll do it for $5. See, she's reading my mind already.
Now visualize, or imagine, or feel.
And here at the Mind, Body, Spirit, and also there's cooking demonstrations, so you can feel healthy within doing great things for your nutrition. Now, Nancy Evans is a name that's, you're in the TV week, TV Women's, what?
New idea.
New idea, I knew I had the idea.
Yes.
Now, you're into preservatives?
Well, I'm not into preservative. I'm against preservative.
Oh,
We've got the
okay.
first organic preservative-free products in Australia. We come from Queensland. We manufacture the first organic sun care oil that you can wear 365 days a year.
Is that why you're looking so good?
Oh yeah, and also we got the first facelift, organic
okay.
facelift.
Organic facelift?
Yes.
So how old are you?
I'm 47.
Get out of here.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
Is that possible? Let's come and we'll look at these. You've got them over here, do you?
I've got them over here.
Oh, you got them over here. Pamper me. Oh.
Darling.
Okay, so what are you doing?
We're just using a cleanser.
Okay.
The cleansing
You're
is
saying
very important for the skin.
You're good with your hands.
He likes it. Hang on, you got a little...
Now, what's the aroma?
The aroma is made of apple cider vinegar and also is made of rose geranium and lemon, which also oxygenates your skin cells.
It feels divine.
Makes you lift and turn at the same time. Cleansing is very important.
This aroma I can almost taste just through my nostrils.
Oh, it's very nice. It's like a lollipop.
So get rid of all the dead skin and the dirt and everything.
Just get rid of all these. Just marvellous.
How dirty is that tissue?
It's clean.
Oh, I see I'm a pretty clean guy then.
So what it is, it removes all the dead cells. It prepares the skin to use the actual nutrients into the skin. Step what we're going to use is use a scrub. You're going to be so young. It's beautiful.
Now what's in the scrub?
And the scrub is made out of cinnamon and sandalwood and also lemon.
So we've got apple, we've got lemon, now we go cinnamon.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna be edible.
The scrub, it helps to remove all the dead cells.
Yeah.
So your skin will come out nice, luscious, and very kind to yourself.
Now, is this good for people who've got like eczema and other skin problems?
Oh, wonderful for people who had eczema, because my son suffers eczema. This is why I started developing this product. It's because my son's skin disease.
Yeah.
And I wanted a product.
And you cured him.
And I wanted a product that had no chemicals, that were fine on. It has that. The beauty with this, you can massage it right underneath the skin.
Yeah.
Right underneath here.
Oh. I don't know about this one now.
Okay. Now we use the
Darlings.
which is a powder.
Okay.
This is your plastic surgeon.
Ah,
this will draw
this is our friend.
the impurity under the skin. Okay, so
Now, how much does something like this cost?
$44.
Is that all?
Which is not even 30 cents a day.
A day.
It's the only product that you can go right underneath your
So
eyes.
it's like a face mask.
Then close your eyes.
And you leave on for how long?
Leave it on for until it's dried, so you can see the actual results. So,
Oh, we'll be here for a while then.
no, only 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Is that all?
Yeah, it doesn't take long to dry, because once it with the aircon here, we'll just do that.
Relax the muscles of your forehead and your face and your jaw. Relax the muscles of your neck.
T-zones there's got poor circulation, and also up here. So this will help to regenerate the facelift. We're talking not a skincare, we're talking beyond the skincare, which is a wonderful facelift. So we're going to help you to get rid of all this lovely, beautiful skin. So he's going to be a new man when we're finished.
You thought I was good looking now, but wait till you see me after this.
Okay. Wait until we get our body oil into you, so that we're really regenerating.
I think we'll have to come back after the break for that one.
So, which is really good. I'm just going to use the toner. I'm going to rehydrate your skin to firm and turn and lift. So you
without a knife.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? Okay, tone me up. Tastes nice too.
Rose water. 7 precious oils, which is the only one in the world that will regenerate your skin, keeps you young.
So what's in this, or is this top secret stuff?
I extract it myself.
Yeah.
It's got an antioxidant, vitamin A, C, E, made out of carrot seed, ylang-ylang, and rose oil.
Okay.
Rose oil is one of the most exciting oil. Rose oil has got the highest frequency ever known to man. That will help to regenerate the skin. It creates oxygen for the cells.
This is so strong in the scent. So what brings you here today?
Just interested in seeing what's going on.
What are you looking for?
Anything that interests me. Crystals.
Crystal?
Yeah.
So you into
I like
crystals?
crystals, yeah.
Yeah, what's the crystal attraction?
I don't know. I just love the amethyst and the quartz and diamond crystal.
You use it for healing powers and things like that, or?
No, not really.
No, just the look. You like the look? And you
I like the look of it. Yeah. I try and believe.
Oh, okay. So you are a believer. Are you a lost soul then?
I think so.
Yeah? Do you think there's a lot of lost souls here?
Maybe there is. That's
Yeah.
why they've all come here to search
We're
for
here.
something.
It's a good old religion.
You got to have the faith in religion.
Got to have a faith. You don't want to have a faith.
No, I've got the faith
No.
in religion as well.
And stones.
And stones. I will try anything.
So does that mean you got rocks in your head or no? No,
Whatever
crystals
you
in your head.
Crystals.
Crystals in the head.
Yeah, pure crystals.
Pure.
Pure.
Nothing like a good rock.
Exactly.
Especially if it's 9 carat and set in a gold ring.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
A lot of tension is stored in these areas. Relax your arms.
It's me, another layer.
Oh yeah, that's the last
This is
layer.
about 7. I'm so layered here.
Hey, this is called a facelift. It's a 10-minute facelift. That's what you're going to look
Do I feel good or what?
Oh, yes.
Am I glowing?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Now we can be friends. Isn't that
Got that
marvellous?
natural glow. How are you finding it today?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are you looking for?
She wants to get a photo of her iris taken, but they don't do it here.
Oh, yeah, they do. The urology.
They do it, but I want to keep it.
Oh, you want to keep? You just want a shot of your eyes.
Yeah, I'm studying iridology.
Oh,
so
are
I
you?
wanna, yeah.
So what's the good thing about urology?
Iridology.
Iridology. Thingo.
Still learning a lot, but
Yeah.
I don't know. They can tell a lot about what sort of person you are and what you need and what you don't need. And
What are you saying by looking into my eyes? What am I saying?
I need my magnifiers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not big enough.
No, not big enough.
Yeah.
So you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, why is that?
Just so much. And,
There is.
Yeah.
And it's not only about the mind, about the body, good health, it's spiritual side of it, it's everything here.
Yeah.
You're finding you're getting into the spirit side of things or more the medical side?
A bit of both, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Going hand in hand?
I don't know.
Not your thing.
No, it is. I'm just overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think you need a Reiki session or something.
Maybe I need a little massage.
Massage tent just over there.
Yeah, there's plenty of them around.
Yes, there is. Metta Sorensen, what does that mean?
Sorensen.
Soren-
Metta Sorensen means, well, they say metta means loving kindness, but I'm a Danish design, so
Who named you that?
my mum and dad.
Your mum and
But they
dad.
had no idea what that meant, though, I'm sure.
And you have to go around explaining it to everybody, I'm sure. How do you say your name? Metta Sorensen.
Oh, no.
Am I doing it right? Now tell me what you're doing here. Obviously
We're actually doing kahuna massage, or Hawaiian lomi lomi, and that's a Hawaiian form of bodywork where we work with our arms and our hands in long flowing rhythmical strokes on the body.
So how different is that to, say, normal massage?
It's quite different in the sense that the practitioner works with a concept of body, mind, spirit connection.
Yep.
So when they work and pass on healing to the body, they work with not just the physical body but with the soul and the emotions and the energy as well.
So how draining is that for you? I mean, obviously doing a massage takes a lot of energy out of you. How many can you do? I mean, today it's like a factory, but...
Yeah, well, I can actually go on all day because
Okay.
it's like doing Tai Chi.
Okay.
It's like a movement of energy in action. So what we do is that we gain energy from what we do. So every stroke we make, we give and then we take.
So it's
And we
therapeutic for you as well.
Extremely. You know, you can have a day where you're feeling you're getting headache, or you might even pick up a flu or something, and you think, oh no, maybe I should cancel my client. But the times you actually give it, you gain energy yourself, and you end up being a stronger immune system, so you're not going to catch a flu or a headache.
So you're just exchanging energies through.
So it's love in action, basically.
Relax your legs.
It's like a bit of herb, don't you? A bit of herb? What herbs do you want? It's good stuff.
Stretch number 4. Your eyes facing like you're washing ice cold sparkling water. Number 5. Open your eyes. Alert. Perfect. Every way. How you doing? Good. Boy, you kind of...
I'm joined here with Brian. You're a part of the Australian Hypnotherapy Training and Counselling College.
That's correct.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Absolute mouthful.
Now, with hypnotherapy, obviously there's a lot of people out there who don't really trust it. I mean, there's probably some negative sides to it. What are the positive sides?
Positive sides are that it gets into the subconscious mind. And it's a subconscious mind that runs our body, and subconscious mind that holds all our pain and anguish that we might have built up over our years. And with hypnosis, we can actually tap into the pain or anguish that's in there.
Can that cause problems, like opening someone up and then they're going to have all these repercussions?
Not really, no, because hypnosis is a self that happens. It's the person that does it, not not the hypnotist.
So you can't manipulate anybody to do things they don't normally want to do?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Can anyone be hypnotised?
Absolutely, everybody can be hypnotised.
And the things that you can cure, like obviously stop smoking, things like that, how long would something like that take?
It depends on the subconscious mind, Steve. If it doesn't want to do it, it won't.
It won't.
No. If it does want to do it, it will. And it's like me telling you to do something, and if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. That's right.
You want to hypnotise me?
If you'd like.
All right, let's give it a go.
Okay.
Just for relaxation.
Make sure that you won't be disturbed by anything.
Those eyes of yours starting to be very, very and just feel yourself going deep. Feel yourself going deep. Fast. His arms like shreds. Absolutely shreds. Wake up. How's that? See, you relaxed? You're relaxed? Okay, let's stand up and we'll test.
Light-headed already.
Okay, now you've got a lot of stress on you. So just sit down in the chair.
Yep.
Close the eyes and take 3 deep breaths. 1, 2, 3, sleep. Arms like shreds. And that's self-hypnosis. Very good. Now you can stay there for as long as you like, or you can choose to wake up.
I would like to suggest that you either lay comfortably on the bed or perhaps sit in your favourite chair.
Just wandering through, there's such a nice aroma. We've got like soap. Here we go. What are you buying?
Lemongrass.
Lemongrass?
Yeah.
For scents?
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah?
Great alertness.
Great alertness. Are you not being alert?
I never am.
I know, you didn't see me coming, did you?
No, I didn't.
So what brings you here?
Just the fact that it's on.
Yeah?
Just for something to do on a Saturday.
You're a spiritual person or into all that?
No, I wouldn't say so.
No?
No.
So you're a bit of a disbeliever with what's going on here?
I'm a
or-
believer, but I'm just not I'm not freaky.
Not freaky. What have you done so far?
I just looked around.
Just looking?
Yeah.
Not buying?
Oh no, I've just bought some stuff.
Some stuff?
Bought some nice smelling stuff.
Smelling stuff.
Yeah.
You're into that aromatherapy stuff.
Yeah.
You smell great.
Oh, thank you.
Totally edible.
It's a color therapy system, which is self-selective system. You just have a selection of 102 bottles, and you're picking the bottles according to your own wish.
Okay.
And the colors you're picking are colors which relates to your aura.
So what appeals to you most, you select?
That's right. And sometimes you might feel you're really, upset with the color.
Yeah.
But that's a good sign for
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yeah.
So what do you purchase a little bottle, and what do you do? You're wearing yours, obviously.
Yeah, you can have a little pendant with your little bottle, but normally we start with a reading, so it's more the counseling, the consultation with colors. So you're picking 4 bottles, and it relates to your past, future. Truth is, you really start your healing process in the morning when you're picking your colors of your clothing.
True. It's black, black and black for Melbourne. What does that say?
We're very much of colour, don't we? Yeah. So, once you're aware of it, and also it's a beautiful tool to make you aware of the colour, of the language colour. So, once you're aware of it, you can start your healing process. And of course, you can buy a bottle and apply directly to your body, which can speed up the healing process for yourself.
So do certain colours have certain healing properties?
Yeah, the green is cooperated with the truth, relationship lies in the heart, so it's about proper balance.
Yeah, red?
Red is frustration.
Oh, really?
But it's also good luck and money.
Oh, and I thought it was a sexual colour too. Is it not? It is, yeah. Okay.
Obviously for you.
Purple, calming?
Purple is your spiritual part. It's very good connection.
Picking my bottles already. I'm seeing 4 colours here I really like.
What are your colours?
I like this one here. I do like this one as well.
When you shake this one,
Yeah.
the blue and red, you've got purple.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, not allowed to shake it. No. Whoops. Now, Greg, you're healing with light. Looks a bit weird.
It does look a bit weird. It's a Swiss-made product called Bioptron. It's been available for the last more than 10 years now. But it's a light therapy system that emits a wavelength of light. That's
What does it heal?
It can heal a number of different things, whether it's wound healing, relief of pain.
So you don't just look into it, you do it on the body as well.
Absolutely. Ulcers, pain relief. It's actually TGA listed in Australia, and it's medically accepted throughout Europe.
My body's a dimple. Let's do yogurt. Ouch! Ouch! Oh, yum!
Get active, get social, get on a roll. For more info, visit skateaustralia.org.au.
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to order some pathology tests to see how everything's going.
Half the Australian population had a pathology test last year. That's you or someone you love. 100 tests are performed every minute, delivering vital medical information. From the moment you are born, your healthcare depends on pathology tests. 70% of medical decisions rely on information from pathology tests. Pathology is the engine room of healthcare. One small sample can reveal millions of insights all about you. Pathologists are your doctor's doctor. 25,000 people work to provide doctors with the answers they need to treat you. Australian pathology is world class. We may never meet you, but we see each of you as part of our family. Every minute, 23 Australians find out more about their health.
Good news, Sarah, the results show that everything's okay.
Pathology provides peace of mind.
I rely on Australian pathology.
Sign up online to support Australian pathology.
What I love about Australia is Adelaide Central Market. It's where I grew up hanging out with Mum and great Auntie Kim. I see a lot of migrants buying ingredients that they need to cook dishes that remind them of their culture. And I think that's why food is such a powerful thing when it comes to people understanding each other. On Australia Day, I'm going to come to the market, buy some beautiful produce, take it home, crank out the pizza oven and have a little pool party with my mates.
Get together on Australia Day. Go to australiaday.org.au to find out how.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, it's MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
They say there's a chance I could die in a car crash, maybe even from heart disease, maybe even skin cancer.
I could die in a work-related accident, or I could die in a fight.
The fact is, the biggest cause of death for men in my age group is suicide.
Please don't let this happen to me.
You can do something. Lifeline believes that suicide is mostly preventable. Help us save lives. Find out what you can do at lifeline.org.au.
MELfeed Video is about to close operations for tonight, but we'll be back with you next Monday evening. In the meantime, here is a selection of programs that will be seen on our next scheduled web stream. You're welcome to visit our website at MELfeed.video for further details of this project. Until next time, from all of us here at MELfeed Video, we wish you a very good night.